Welcome you all in today's module, that is lecture number 3 in navigating social relationship and emotional intelligence. So as we all know that emotional intelligence and social relationship are connected to each other. So this we will be discussing soon in this lecture. The learning outcome from this lecture will be first the understanding the social relationship, then fundamental attribution errors that are happening in these social relationship, importance of healthy family relationship, and what are the types of relationship that are affecting the emotional intelligence and social relationship, then emotional intelligence, types of emotional intelligence, and how to enhance the domains of emotional intelligence. Then we will discuss the relationship between the emotional intelligence and mental disorders. So let us start understanding the social relationship. So as we know that social relationship is called when there is a context of social, then we call it as a social relationship. And in this context, we have our close relationship like family, friends, love, and many other professional relationship. All these together comes under the social relationship. And social relationship are basically the integral of development and maintenance of health throughout the life course, and serving as a host of functions such as bolstering health, promoting healthy behaviors, providing supports, and fostering sense of kinship and promoting identity security. So all these things are important when we are understanding the social relationship. If we talk social relationship from the developmental perspective, then according to John Bowlby, attachment theory, which proposes that it is a universal biological need to connect socially or create a social bond. And there is an innate tendency in human to form a secure attachment to a primary attachment figure. So if we go through our previous lecture, lecture 1, in that we discussed that how developmental plays roles in the human lives and what are the developmental changes that happens in early ages and which are responsible for further age as well. So the attachment what John Bowlby is talking, that is of secure kind of attachment. If a child is developing a secure attachment in the at the during the childhood phase, then he or she will be developing same secured attachment when in the later adulthood or adult life. So that is why the secure attachment is very important. There are many other attachment like insecure attachment, ambivalence attachment, disorganized form of attachment, but the secured attachment only develops in the context of family, especially with the relation of child between mother and the child. Other thing is, as we know that the social connection is innate form, like it is an innate tendency. So every human being needs this kind of connection to develop themselves and to get through his or her own life. When we talk about the adulthood, so in adulthood, the nature of social relationship changes, both in the quality as well as the quantity. Number of close friendship, confident increases in the young adulthood and remain relatively stable during midlife. So it is the phase where the peak of the social relationship, the adult get engaged in many relationship and in the bond. So it is the peak of the relationship. When in later life adults, they prefer to have a smaller number of close relationship, and they become increasingly selective in their choice of those with whom they interact. So this is how in that later adult life the social relationship get constricted and the individual have very less close friend or very less number of kinship or whom they are interacting frequently. So other thing is social support is important resource through adulthood, like especially in later life, it may involve the material assistance or help with the task and chores as well as the emotional support. So this is how, as we talked, that during later adult life, the connection with the people get decreased. So at this point of time, the adult needs lot of support from the social group or the different part of the connection that the individual is having. Social support that may be provided in by a formal or informal way. The formal social connection support can be like institution or community or organization, or informal is like family, friends, or and many other sources. Now coming to a very important topic, that is attribution. Attribution, the process through which we seek to identify the cause of others' behavior and so gain the knowledge of their stable traits and disposition. So this is attribution is basically how we perceive other, so, and form a very kind of judgment we form. So attribution is important concept to understand the social relationship. There are some attribution biasness that we will go through. So first, the fundamental attribution biasness, the tendency to overemphasize the personality traits and underestimate the situational factor when explaining the other's behavior. So this is one of the biasness which mostly frequently happens in our day-to-day life. It can lead to blaming others unfairly and reducing empathy. For instance, like assuming a friend lazy because they are late without considering the external circumstances. Like if an individual is late in duty or other some areas of his life, then people can judge on the basis of his attributional like personality or trait basis. They may say that the person is of this kind. They may reject the situational factor, that maybe the bus would be late or there would be some external cause to delay in that person's life. Other is self-serving bias, the tendency to attribute one's success to internal factor. Example is skills and failure to the external factor. So this is like opposite to the bias that we talked just before. In this, what happened? For the positive outcome, they may say or they may attribute one's internal factor as a responsible thing, and failures to the external factor like luck, or it may be luck or due to some other person's help. So this is a kind of self-serving bias, and this can cause actually conflict in relationship, especially when one partner avoid the accountability, damage trust and communication. So this is also an important biasness to understand in a social relationship. Another is actor observer biases, the tendency to attribute our own action to a situational factor, attributing others' action to their dispositional factor. So it is similar to what we talked about the first one, the biasness, that fundamental attribution biases, and this can lead to a double standards in a relationship. Like for example, justifying one own rudeness to due to a bad day, and while viewing someone else rudeness as a character flaw. So these biasness that we are talking, they are directly impacting the social relationship, and this happens in our day-to-day life, and we oftentimes we are not aware of it, that how frequently these things are happening with us. Now let us talk about the importance of healthy family relationship. As we know that family circle is very important, family dynamics is very important. Family dynamics in terms of communication, in terms of boundary, and in terms of the pattern that we are having. So how it is important? So first we will talk about the emotional security and development. The positive family relationship provide a sense of security and belonging that is crucial for children's emotional and cognitive development. So this is what we also have gone through in module 10 lecture 1. So we talked about how the child or adolescent develop the emotion regulation in family context. They start knowing what kind of emotion they have to present in what kind of situations, and how to deal with the conflict that are arising in that particular domain. Second is the mental health benefit. So with supportive family relationship, report lower level of stress, anxiety and depression. As we know that family is the important area of human life. So if the healthy family relationship is maintained, then there are very less likely or very less chances of developing any kind of psychiatric issue, or what we can say is stress, anxiety or depression. Other thing is physical health and longevity. The close family connection can positively impact physical health, reducing the risk of chronic diseases and contributing to the longer lifespans. So before this, in lecture 2, we discussed about the how the academic stress affects the physical health. So in similar way, the family pattern and family relationship also affect the health physically. If there is any kind of like high noises in family and there is insecure attachment boundary, so this inappropriate environment create a lot of stress physiological basis, which lead to develop a higher risk of developing any kind of serious issues like cardiac issues or hypertension or many other similar kind of diseases, or even a mental health or mental related disorders. Then other thing, talking about the coping mechanism. Families often serve as a primary support system during a time of stress or crisis, providing emotional and practical assistance that can mitigate the impact of adverse event. So here we are talking about how the family is helpful in the coping from any kind of stressful situation. See, the family is a primary care or primary connection where a person can rely directly and can rely with his or her own full trust. So in same way, if there is a healthy family relationship, then a person can cope the stressful situation in more productive and in a more better ways, which would help to get away from many kind of psychological issues and problems in life. Now we are talking about the healthy peer relationship. So peer relationship is also a very important, this plays an important role in a development of an individual. So what is the thing, like we talked about the self regulation, cognitive development. So here the peer are like a role, they play a good role in development these kind of skills in individual. So social and emotional support, high quality friendship like offer understanding, validation, support, contributing to the higher self esteem and life satisfaction. So this is the first thing which plays in the social and emotional domain. Second is academic and cognitive development. So positive peer interaction are associated with better academic performance, increased motivation to learn. Then mental health and behavior. Healthy peer relationship can reduce the likelihood of developing mental health issues, decrease engagement in risky behavior. They also play a role in developing a social skills and emotional regulation. So one thing is that in during childhood or during adulthood or adolescent or adulthood, we mostly learn from the others behavior, that we call it as social learning. So what happens, that the kind of peer we are having, we will learn as per that. So if the peer are good and the relationship with the peers are good, then we are developing in a healthy way and more productive way, which will enhance our cognitive capabilities, our academic development and social and emotional development. We will be able to develop a good coping skills, good pattern of skills which will help in the future life. Next is the resilience and coping. The same that we talked, like friendship can serve as a buffer against the stress and helping individual navigating challenges and recover from the setback more effectively. So this is how the healthy peer relationship plays a role in social domain. Now talking about the professional life, the catalyst for success, how social relationship plays role in the professional life. So first is the career advancement and opportunities. So networking and professional relationship can open doors for new opportunities, mentorship and collaboration. So this is how this is helping us to have a diverse form of knowledge, and we have many opportunities open if the social interaction is good. Workplace satisfaction and productivity. So positive relationship plays like a role at work, enhance job satisfaction, teamwork, and overall productivity. So this is how the importance of like social relationship in the personal life. So what happens here, if the relationship at this domain is good, then there will be a good form of coping, there will be a good environment and less noises, and there will be a different kind of environment which will help in the productivity of an individual, and this will also increase the job satisfaction, and overall teamwork would be, cohesiveness would be good, and overall productivity will be increased with this. Then resilience and support system that we were talking about, so this also like build the resilience and support, like having a supportive colleague and mentors, they provide a safety net during the challenging times, and fostering the resilience and a sense of community within a workplace. So the social relationship and healthy relationship is important in the professional as well as the personal life. Now, let us talk about the social stressor. What are the social stressors? And if we talk about the stressor is basically the stimuli that is causing the stress. So here we are talking about the social stress. So that is arising from the interaction and the relationship. So first is the workplace pressure, the deadlines, office politics, or job insecurity. This is one of the important stressor socially. Second is family dynamics, as we talked. If there is a conflict in the family, caregiving responsibility or lack of support, then another kind of social stress. This can impact the individual. Then the social isolation, the feeling disconnected from the friend or community. Then societal expectations like cultural norms, social pressure that may conflict with the personal values. So here what we see that how the society, how the culture play a major role. See, there are different cultural norms, and the norms that can be different or differ from the norms that a person is following or he or she has developed from inside. So that incongruency can create a lot of pressure, a lot of stress due to these factors. Then social isolation, as we talked, that disconnected from the friend or community. Family dynamics, we previously talked how it is playing a major role in the stress, and these stressor can lead to a chronic stress affecting both mental and physical health. So this is how they are connected with the social relation. Now we are talking about the strategies to manage the social stress. So first thing that is important is enhancing the social connections, in which build a support network, like engage with friend, family or support group to share the experiences and feelings. Second is practical supportive communication, offer seek empathy, understanding and encouragement in the communication or conversations. Then be proactive, like reach out to others even when it is challenging to foster connection. So this way the enhancement of social connection can help to tackle with the social stresses. Then develop healthy coping mechanisms or healthy lifestyle. So mindfulness and meditation that will help to, this may help to focus on the present moment and deal effectively with your problems at that point of time. Another is physical activity. The regular exercise can alleviate the stress and improve mood. This may help you both physiological and psychological way. As we previously discussed the biopsychosocial model, in which we discussed that the biological aspect, the psychological aspect and the social aspect are interconnected to each other. So if any one domain of these factors is being affected, then it is directly going to impact the other domain. For example, if the biological routine, biological rhythm is being disturbed, then it is directly going to affect the psychological domain via due to the effect of neurotransmitter or due to the effect of physiological disturbance, and that psychological disbalance can impact the social relationship, and this cycle may be continued till it is not being worked properly. So that is why the healthy coping mechanism in this the physical activity is must and very important. Then other thing is journaling. Writing about your thought and feeling can provide a clarity and emotional release. So many of the time people are very introvert, or they don't like to express things directly communicating to some other person. So journaling is a method by which they can write down, jot down in the form of stories, in the form of diagrams, or in the form of any painting. So this will help them to vent out or catharsis the negative emotions that are being stuck inside their mind. Third is setting boundaries. So every relationship have like their own boundaries. For example, there are many subsystems in the family. So in these subsystems, there are different boundaries. For example, like a boundary between the child and the parent, then a boundary between the child parent and other person in the family or the kinship. Then this way every relation has their own boundaries. So to keep intact, these boundaries are very important. Diffusing these boundaries can affect the social communication or the family environment in an adverse way. So limiting exposure to the stressor, like identifying and reduce time spent in environment or with environment that contribute to the stress. So if there is a stressor happening from any person in any relationship, then to form a boundary that cannot be breached by other person or by himself, this will help to reduce the social stressor or the impact of the social stressor. Then manage social media use. So as we know, social media is a very important source of stressor, because lots of information we get directly by just in a one click. So there are different kind of people around us, and with different expectation, with different presentations. So what we do, sometimes we try to uh, learn through them, or sometimes we try to compare ourselves with them. So these things are also a very important stressor in an individual's like life. So be mindful of time spent online and content consumed, and as it can influence the stress level. So we have to draw a clear boundary while we are using these kind of platforms. Fourth is seeking professional support. So there are many things that we cannot control directly from our side. There are many limitations in us. So whenever we feel that we have difficulty in coping or dealing with something or some kind of a stressor, then there is a call where we have to take to reach out to a professional for the help, like a professional that can be psychologist, clinical psychologist, or anyone. So these professionals can provide you strategies tailored to your specific situation, and they may help you to develop a adaptive form of coping strategy that is going to help you a lot. Then peer support program. There are many peer support program going on, and engaging with these peer support programs, like this can help to comfort and practical advice. So even if we talk about the higher institutions, so in the higher institutions there are the groups of student team which work in a very diverse way in different domains, like cultural domain, sports domain, or in any kind of management or administrative domain. So this exposure or this kind of initiation could help them to develop the confidence or develop the practical knowledge, or even the comfort that they can seek from other professionals. Now we are talking about the emotional intelligence, the intelligence that is different from the normal intelligence we talk, the IQ. So emotional intelligence is basically short, the quotient is EQ, we call it as EQ, which is very different from the like intelligence in general. So what is the emotional intelligence? So emotional intelligence refers to the ability to perceive, the understand, manage and regulate the emotions in oneself and others. It involves a set of skills like that enables individual to process emotion, information and apply it effectively in a various situation. So as from this definition we can know that what importance this plays in the social relationship. So if we any person is having the low EQ level, then it is going to impact the social relation, impact the relation between two person, impact the relation within the domain. It can be professional domain or it can be any personal domain. As we talked, the with IQ, the EQ is also very important. Now, talking about the different domain of intelligence, the emotional intelligence is often broken down into 5 domains or 5 key components. It is proposed by psychologist Daniel Goleman, and he talks about the self-awareness. Self-awareness basically is whatever that is happening inside you or outside you, you are aware of those sensation, those feelings, and those thoughts or any kind of stimulus that is happening inside you. For example, recognizing when you are feeling stressed and understanding how it affects your decision making or behavior. So this is also a self awareness. Second is self regulation. Like self regulation, as we talked, that emotions that are different at different point of time and in different context. So this is the self regulation, the flexibility of emotion changing across the time period. Example, like remaining calm and composed when facing a challenging situation or conflict. So this is a form of emotional regulation where there is inhibition, where there is a controlled flow of emotions. This helps in the uh, relationship with others. Third is motivation. Like example, the continuing work towards a goal even when faced with a setbacks. So motivation is the another concept or another important component in the emotional intelligence. Then empathy. Empathy is simply understanding others by keeping yourself in their position. So, for example, like sensing when someone is upset and offering support or comfort. So, if you want to help others, then that means you have to understand their problems from their own perspective. Then only you are going to help them in a better or effective way. Then social skills. Social skill is basically the conflict resolution, the assertiveness that you are having to deal with the social situations. Example, like collaborative with a team to achieve a common goal while maintaining positive interpersonal relationship. So without breaking relationship, you have to do your work. So to maintain this, you need a social skill or kind of skills that that can be help you to deal with the communication patterns. Now, how social relations and emotional intelligence are linked together. So this is the point of conjunction, like where we will discuss like why in a social relation the emotional intelligence is important. So by previous few slides, you would have already understood the role of emotional intelligence in the social relationship. So as we talked about the self-awareness, so by understanding one's own emotion, people can communicate more clearly and avoid overreading, leading to more productive and conversation and fewer misunderstanding. So this is how self-awareness plays as a role in social relationship. Then empathy, if you are recognizing your own emotions and the person that in front of you his emotion, then you are going to better resolve the situation. You are going to have a better understanding and the congruency between you and that person. Then self-regulation. Self-regulation, managing your own emotion in a social relationship is important. So if there is any kind of conflicting situation, you are not impulsively acting. So this is how the self-regulation plays a role in the social relationship. Then social skills like effective communication, active listening, conflict resolution, these are the key social skills. And the high emotionally intelligent individual excel in building like sustaining relationship at workplace in personal life with the social skills that we discussed. Social awareness, like understanding the non-verbal cues, social dynamics, that enable the better adaptation to various situations, improving relationship satisfaction and connections. Then trust and respect is emotional intelligence foster trust and respect through the consistent, thoughtful emotion exchange, forming the foundation of a strong, lasting relationship. Then positive emotion, that individual with high emotional intelligence can express and share positive emotion like joy, gratitude, contributing to supportive, appreciative atmosphere and in a relationship. So these are the points where we can see that how the social relationship and emotional intelligence are interacting to each other, or importance, or having a relationship with each other. I would like to talk about one case study for the example and better understanding. So, starting that Emily is a 30-year-old marketing manager, had always been seen as a friendly and approachable individual. She had a broad circle of friends, a supportive work network, and a close knit family. However, despite her outward charm, Emily often found herself facing challenges in her relationship, both personal and professional. She frequently experienced misunderstanding with friends and occasional friction with colleagues, which left her feeling isolated despite having a busy social life. So, this is the scenario that Emily is facing as a problem. Now, we will talk about the management per se, how the Emily worked on her social intelligence to improve the relationship. So, in her quest to improve her interpersonal relationship, Emily began exploring the concept of emotional intelligence with the help of the therapist or with the help of the counselor, especially in the area of self-awareness, empathy, and social skills that she was lacking. After taking an EI assessment and through mindfulness, she identified emotional triggers leading to better self-regulation, practicing active listening, enhanced in her empathy, and allowing her to understand others' perspective. By refining her communication, she addressed conflicts calmly and constructively. These AI developmental improved her personal relationship and fostered a more collaborative work environment. So, this is the example or a case that shows how the social relationship can be affected by a minor things, and to identify, as Emily identified after later on with the help of the evaluation of the EQ. So, she worked on those areas and then the things became healthy and normal. So, this is how we have to do with our other family members, our clients, or any person that is lacking in these areas. Now, let us talk about the relationship between emotional intelligence and mental disorder. So, if we talk about the depression, then individual with low emotional intelligence may have difficulty in identifying and managing negative emotion that contributing to the persistent and sadness and hopelessness. So, this is how the emotional intelligence plays a role here. Another is anxiety disorder. So, poor emotional regulation, heightened emotional reactivity are common in anxiety disorder. And high emotional intelligence here helped individual to manage stress and reframe fearful thoughts, reducing anxiety symptoms. So, next is a personality disorder, especially we are talking about the borderline personality disorder. Here also it is like characterized by emotional instability, difficulty in interpersonal relationship, often tied to the low emotional regulation and empathy. So, what we can say here is that is in most of the borderline cases, the emotional intelligence is low, and due to this they have lots of difficulty in their social relationship or even managing their own emotions. So, intervention focusing on this domain can help improve them in emotional regulation and to have a better outcome in their life. Another is schizophrenia, which is a severe form of disorder. We call it a psychotic disorder. So, there is a deficit in the social cognition and emotional perception in this kind of disorder. And enhancing the emotional intelligence may help improve the social functioning and reduce social isolation. So, there is a known deficit, that cognitive deficit in the social domain is found in schizophrenic patients. So, training in this area, especially social skill training and social cognition training, that would help them to manage effectively. So, by this we are ending up this lecture, and there are a few references which you can go through to understand this topic in more better way. So, thank you.